What's up, and welcome to Caleb Smith TV. This is your friend Caleb Smith, bringing you a brand new live stream. Today we are playing some more Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity. Very exciting, but specifically we're going to be focused on classes. So we're going to be focused on testing out Warrior, Mage, Rogue, Healer, and Dragon Slayer, because those are the 5 classes that we have to choose from here on Adventure Quest Infinity. Those are the only classes available right now. And they do function differently than they did in Adventure Quest Worlds, as far as I know. So, first things first, you might look at the screen and say, well, you have the class equipped. We have Warrior class equipped right now. You might ask, well, you have the class equipped. Where are the abilities? Because usually the abilities would be displayed right at the bottom of the screen there, pretty much right under our character, at the bottom middle of the screen. However, it's not quite like that on this game. On this game, if you want to see your abilities, you got to press this arrow over here, and that'll make your abilities sort of pop out, and then you can see them all. You can see your basic attack and everything like that. So we're going to be going through those abilities today right here on Caleb Smith TV for each and every one of these classes, all 5 of the classes, starting with Warrior. But first, Danny said to slash join river, and I actually already did this, so I kind of spoiled it for myself, but check it out. If you slash join river, there's just a ton of monsters everywhere, all kinds of different ones. Like, it's, oh crap, I accidentally started hitting one. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys a quick little thing that I learned. Apparently, if you pull up the despair shop while in the middle of combat, it'll actually completely exit you out of combat. So that's a little bug. That's sort of like a little cheat code for you guys if you're ever in a pinch, like right here. I just did it, but I'll show you guys again in case you missed it. If, let's say I'm fighting this dragon and he's going to beat me, normally I wouldn't be able to leave or do anything, but if you click this treasure chest right here in the top right and open Despair's little menu, it'll instantly exit you out of combat, and then boom, you can just survive. So there's a little tip for you guys. Danny taught me that one. But yeah, check it out. This is what River looks like. You just have all kinds of monsters to fight and choose from, which is really cool. But this is a little bit beyond our level right now. We are going to test some things out here, but not yet. Let me think. Where should we go? Oh, I know where to go. We're going to go to the graveyard. So let's go to the graveyard, and then I'm going to start reading these abilities. We're going to be testing on Big Jack Sprat right here in the graveyard. He's like the big, strong graveyard boss. So let's go ahead and check out our auto attack here on Warrior. So just so you guys know, the classes are automatically rank 9. For some reason, I guess just for testing purposes, they are rank 9, and there is no way to sort of check what the class is doing for us. So this is a level 5 character with Warrior rank 9. Let's go ahead and check out our character here. We have 24. First, I'll show you guys what I have equipped. Let me do that first. So this is what I have equipped. Pretty much nothing. I have just the class, and then this very basic weapon with the level 5 common power gem that sort of comes automatically installed on my unarmed founder. So now that we know that, the reason I'm doing that is so we could really see what the classes look like at a base level without any extra items equipped. So Warrior level 5 has a power of 24. We have a strength of 6, intellect of 6. That's very interesting. Why in the world does the Warrior have an equal strength and intellect stat? I don't know. Only 2 endurance, which is very surprising, 4 dexterity, 4 wisdom, and 2 luck. Now, I don't even know if different classes actually change your stats, but we're going to test that right now. We're going to equip Mage, and now we're going to go look, and we're still at 24 power, still at 6, 6, 2, 4, 4, and 2. So, from the looks of it, your class does not actually affect your base stats here, unless I'm mistaken, because I'm equipping all of the classes one by one and checking my stats, and my stats are not being affected at all. So it's safe to say that currently your class does not affect your base stats. I assume the only thing that would affect your base stats would be your character level and your weapon, because if your class doesn't affect it, then that means the only thing that would affect it is pretty much whatever you have equipped other than your class, like armors and weapons and things like that. Let's equip the warrior again. So now that we know that this character sheet really doesn't matter because the class is not affecting this at all. So all we need to pay attention to is abilities and defense and damage outputs and survivabilities and things like that. That's what we're going to be focusing on today. What's up, Anna? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're having a good day. Good night at this point, I guess. Hope you're enjoying the night so far. Let's see. Yeah, there's definitely nothing that I want to equip to try to enhance our class. I just want to see what it's like at the raw base level. So let's go ahead and check out all of the warrior abilities. So we have an auto attack. We can double click a monster to start attacking. It's a basic attack taught to all adventurers. I'm going to assume that this attack does not change depending on what class we have. I'm going to assume that all classes have this exact same auto attack. So here's our first actual ability. It is our 2 ability, Decisive Strike. It costs 5 mana and it has a 2-second cooldown. We can leap into the air and strike nearby targets upon landing. Deals 50% increased damage to off-balance targets and inflicts them with Armor Shred for 5 seconds, increasing our damage dealt to them by 10%, which seems really good. Now, my first question would be, does the Armor Shred actually count for everybody? Like, does it increase everybody's damage or just mine? Because it says increasing your damage dealt to them, which is making me wonder if it actually, you know, if it shreds their armor, or if it's more of just like a single player buff, a single buff, which would be to ourselves. Somebody's here. Harley Davidson. What's up, Harley Davidson biker dude? There's 3 players here. I'm not sure if he's talking to me, so I'm going to sort of mute the chat. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope that you're enjoying the stream. It's super exciting. I hope that everybody's enjoying the stream so far with the new game that is out, Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity. I've been very excited about this for a while now. I've sort of dedicated my my YouTube channel to it at this point. Currently, I've been doing updates and everything about it for the past few weeks, past month, I guess. It's been very fun, very exciting, and it's finally out, and I can't wait to check out these classes. So that's our Decisive Strike. Like I said, I wonder if it actually does shred the armor, or if it's more like it just applies a debuff to the enemy that increases my damage dealt. Now, if it's a debuff to the enemy that increases everybody's damage dealt to the enemy, that makes Decisive Strike much better. And I really hope that that's what it is, but based on the way it's worded, I'm going to assume that that's not what it is, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. Because we're going to be dealing 50% increased damage to off-balance targets, which raises my second question. How do we make sure that targets are off balance? Well, we'll have to continue reading the abilities to find out, because we have Imbalancing Strike right here is our 3rd ability on the warrior. It costs 20 mana and it has a 10-second cooldown, so a much longer cooldown than Decisive Strike. that is one thing that is going to be very good about Decisive Strike, is that it's basically a second basic attack. So if we look at our auto attack here, our auto attack is a 2-second cooldown, and so is Decisive Strike. So very good. By the way, I guess I better do this real quick. We need to look at these the actual description of the classes, so that we sort of know what the overall idea of the class is, and so we know which enhancements we're going to want for the class, what kind of power gems we're going to want for the class. So this is the Warrior, level 1, class 12. I have no idea what that means. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to focus on the fact that it's Warrior, and then the description, which says recommended enhancement, Fighter. That means that whenever we enhance any of our items that we plan on using and equipping while we're using Warrior, we want to make sure that those enhancement gems are of the Fighter subtype. Okay, so that's the thing. So if I go over here and I look at my bag, you'll see I have a hybrid cape gem. Now, hybrid is the subtype of the gem, and so is cape. Cape is another subtype, but we're not going to focus on that. We're just going to focus on hybrid, because like I said, Fighter is a subtype of gems, so is hybrid. And right here I just have a little test gem, sort of just a gem that I have in my inventory because it's an epic, which makes it pretty good. So gems can have different rarities as well. The higher the rarity, the better the gem, and so that's why I kept the epic, because epics are really good. So as we can see with the third Warrior ability, Imbalancing Strike, we can, sorry, I kind of just skipped over the Warrior description, but it's really important that I show you guys that with the Imbalancing Strike, you can actually knock them off balance, which combos. Not only does it stun them, which is, guys, stunning is like one of the strongest things that you can actually do in these kind of games. Imbalancing Strike stuns, but it also causes them to fall off balance, which combos with Decisive Strike, which makes us deal 50% increased damage to them with the Decisive Strike. But anyway, now that that is covered, let's go back to the Warrior class. And I know it can get a little confusing because you have the Warrior class, but then you need the Fighter enhancement. And so, you know, with the Warrior and the Fighter thing can be kind of confusing. Just like if you see here with the Rogue class, you'll see that they require the Thief enhancement. And it's like, okay, why don't you just call it the Rogue enhancement instead of calling it the Thief enhancement? And the reason is because the Thief is sort of like more, whereas Rogue is a class that you use, the Thief enhancement is more of an overarching thing that can affect many different classes and benefit many different classes instead of just affecting Rogue. And that's why it's not called the Rogue enhancement, it's called the Thief enhancement. Same thing with the Fighter enhancement for the Warrior. So even though you're a Warrior that wants the Fighter enhancement, you could be something else that also wants the Fighter enhancement. Like if I look at my Dragon Slayer class, the Dragon Slayer class also wants the Fighter enhancement. And like I said, that's why it can be a little confusing. But once, you know, you kind of realize that the enhancement subtypes can hit multiple classes instead of just one type of class. The reason it's like that right now is because there's only like 5 classes. And so you might ask, like, well, why is it a mage? And why is it called mage, but you want a wizard enhancement? You know, that doesn't make any sense. It's because, you know, once they add more classes to the game, maybe those classes would also like wizard enhancement, but those classes are not mages. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm just pointing this out just in case anybody has that question, because it can be actually a little confusing, I'm sure, whenever you're looking at it like that. But anyway, like I said, Warrior, recommended enhancement, Fighter, and if you look at all the different classes, then you'll see that they're all recommended their own enhancement. Every class has an enhancement recommendation. So with the Warrior The heart of a warrior is filled with courage and strength. Your skills with weapons and close combat make you a powerful force on the battlefield. So honestly, that didn't really give us much information right there. Usually with classes, let's see, overview, that's not doing anything. Class is not a thing. So classes a lot of the times have passives, and usually each class has a different way of obtaining mana. Mana is the resource that you use to use your abilities and all of that, to activate abilities and things like that. You need to use mana. And once you run out of mana, you need to know the best way to obtain that mana so that you can continue using your abilities and things like that during battle. And like I said, every class usually has a different way of obtaining mana. And so the problem here is that I don't think that's a part of the game right now, because all of the classes have no passives or anything like that. So based on what I can tell, that's just not a part of the game right now. But take what I'm saying into the future. Whenever they do add class passives and things like that, you're going to want to pay attention to how your class gains mana, because sometimes the class might need to basic attack an enemy in order to gain mana, and sometimes the class might have to critical hit an enemy in order to gain mana, which is a much different thing. And usually every class is at least a little bit different. Some classes can be pretty similar, but like I said, not part of the game right now, so we're gonna skip right over that. I was really hoping that the class description was going to help us there. It did not. We still have 2 more abilities to go over with the warrior class. Here is the 4th ability. It is Prepared Strike. It costs 10 mana with a 6-second cooldown. Honestly, not a bad cost. Not a bad mana cost, and not a bad cooldown. Whenever you use Prepared Strike, you swing your weapon at everything around you. It applies Prepared Strike, the name of the ability, causing your next auto attack to deal double damage and critically strike. Now, this sounds really good. So, pretty much, whenever you use this ability, you know that your very next basic attack or auto attack is going to deal double damage and critically strike. So, there's things called luck enhancements. And with luck enhancements, they actually increase your critical strike chance and your critical strike damage, as long as I'm not mistaken. And that sounds really good to pair with something like the Prepared Strike for an enhancement buff. If you wanted to sort of lean into that critical strike damage that you're getting from Prepared Strike, that's going to be guaranteed every 6 seconds, then you could build sort of a luck enhancement build around your warrior instead of a fighter type enhancement build. And what that would do is increase your critical strike chance and your critical strike damage, which is also going to be completely doubled by this Prepared Strike ability every now and then, every 6 seconds to be more specific, which just sounds really fun, really cool, and really good as well. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because even though the fighter enhancement is the one that was recommended for the warrior class, you could use luck enhancement instead to sort of customize the way that you want to play the game, which is really cool and really fun. Moving on to our 5th ability, which is called the Ultimate. Every class's 5th ability is called the Ultimate or the Ult. The Warrior's Ultimate is called On Guard, 15 mana, 15-second cooldown, which the cost isn't that bad, but the cooldown is pretty long, which most Ultimate abilities are going to be long cooldowns. With On Guard, you take a defensive stance, applies On Guard, increasing your damage resistance by 50% for 5 seconds. So, really good. The only problem is it's a 15-second cooldown and the buff only lasts for 5 seconds. but that buff is very, very good. It is a very good buff. 50% damage resistance, which, you know, I'm not sure if damage resistance and damage reduction are the same thing. I'm going to assume that they're not, but they very well could be. This very well could be sort of decreasing the amount of damage you're taking by a complete 50%, but also it could just be sort of increasing your base damage resistance by 50%, which would just sort of be mitigating some extra damage for you, which would be a lot. It will be mitigating a lot of damage, but not quite 50% of all damage. So that 50% could throw you off a little bit, perhaps. Just know that with On Guard, you are definitely going to be resisting a lot of damage, but it only lasts for 5 seconds, and then you're practically going to be naked for that other 10 seconds where you are completely vulnerable to and susceptible to enemy damage. And that's why you got to make sure that during those times is the best times to probably use Imbalancing Strike, because then you can sort of stun the enemy for 2 seconds, which means that you're only vulnerable for 8 seconds total instead of the full 10. I would definitely recommend comboing sort of like that. So now that we have gone over these warrior abilities, let's go ahead and do some damage tests. So this is what the warrior basic attack looks like. Remember that I have the unarmed weapon, by the way, because I didn't want to be distracted by the weapon. These are our basic attacks with the warrior. We are dealing about 40 damage on well, I guess really we're dealing about 37 damage on average. Yep, that was 3 37s in a row. There's a 39. There's a 40, which is a high roll. 35 seems to be our low roll. 38. There's 41. That's a super high roll. I'm going to pull up the menu, go out of combat real quick, and rest up. So, by the looks of it, it seems that 37 to 38 is going to be our average basic attack damage. Now, let's go ahead and test our second ability here, Decisive Strike, which if we combo it with Imbalancing Strike, will be dealing an extra 50% increased damage. But first, I want to see what it looks like with just the Decisive Strike. So let's see how much damage it deals. That was 51, 53, 50, 53, 53, 58 that time, high roll, 59, high roll, 56, 58, starting to get a little higher. Interested to see why. Well, 51s. Okay, so 55 is probably our average damage with the Decisive Strike, without any buffs or anything like that. It looks like 55 damage is our average damage with Decisive Strike, which is pretty good. I can't wait to start comboing it. Excuse me. So 50% of 55 is like 22.5, which means we should be dealing about 77, close to 80. We should be dealing close to 80 damage with the Decisive Strike. And it makes sense that our damage was ramping over time because it does shred the enemy armor. It does shred the enemy armor, so it makes sense that our Decisive Strike was sort of ramping our damage. Now, with Imbalancing Strike, let's check out just how much damage Imbalancing Strike does. That was a 47. That was a 47 right there. That was pretty good. 48. So high 40s, low 50s on this Imbalancing Strike. That was a mid 40. Mid 40s with and balancing strike seems to be the output on the single target warrior ability, on the third warrior ability. Now I'm going to combo it with decisive strike. Boom, and decisive strike just dealt an 86 right there. That was really cool. I'm going to do the combo again. So in balancing strike for 49, and then decisive strike for 81. Really cool. You can see that the combo is working. The damage numbers do obviously go up whenever you use those two abilities with each other, which is really nice. And then we're going to test the prepared strike. And we definitely just want to combo this with our basic attack. So let's go ahead and see how much damage prepared strike is doing. 86, and then our basic attack hit for 126, which usually our basic attacks hit for about 40. So going all the way up to 126 means that we just dealt about 3 times the normal amount of damage with our basic attack, and that is doubled. So this is what I think is happening, is that the critical strike doubles our damage, right? Whenever we hit with a critical strike. Well, no, I say that. The critical strike does not double our damage. Excuse me. The critical strike increases our damage by 1.5 times. Basically by 50%. It increases our basic attack, or any attack that critical strikes is increased by 50% damage. And then, on top of that, whenever we combine that with prepared strike, with the critical auto attack, that is doubled. So if our attacks are dealing 40 damage whenever we hit with the warrior, but we're critting, then that crit is going to be dealing 60 damage instead, because half of 40 is 20, so 40 plus 20, 60. That's how much damage we're going to be dealing with a critical strike, unless it is empowered by prepared strike, which means it's going to be doubled, and double 60 is 120. So if we're dealing 60s on critical hits, and then we double that with prepared strike, we're going to be hitting for 120s, and that perfectly explains why we just hit for 120 with our critical hit, with our prepared strike critical hit, to be more specific. So let's go ahead and test it again. Prepared strike hitting for 88, and then our critical hit hitting for 120 directly after, which is really cool. Looks like somebody's here. They have a rare healer class. That is really cool. I'm not sure if this guy is following me or not. I'm going to try to quickly join a... Whoops. I'm going to try to quickly join a different map. I just wasn't sure if he's a viewer. I don't really mind. But if it's just a random player, I would rather focus on the stream. So anyway, that is really cool. The prepared strike hitting for 80, and then that basic attack crit hit for 100 right there. Pretty low roll. What's up, Metal Frost? Welcome to the stream. How's the night going for you, brother? Hope it's going good. Everything's good my way. Just enjoying the stream here. Testing the warrior class currently on AQ Infinity. We are moving, now that we're done with explaining prepared strike, which seems really good, you know, being able to hit for 80s and then go directly in to hitting with a critical basic attack, dealing at least 100 with the warrior, is it's really good. Warrior's dealing some good damage. And then finally we have On Guard with the 15-second cooldown, giving us the 50% damage resistance for 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and test that out. If we allow Big Jack Sprat to hit us, he hits us for an average of 25. He just crit us for 30. 23, 23, you can see he sort of averages 23 to 25. Now, well, there we go. Let me rest up real quick. We're going to now pop our ultimate. We're going to use our ultimate and sort of see how the ultimate affects our damage taken. So if we know he's hitting for 25s, let's sort of test it when we use our ultimate. He's hitting for 21 there. Okay, use the ultimate. He's only hitting for 12. So guys, I think that means that the damage resistance by 50% actually is a complete 50% total damage reduction. Seriously, because so he's hitting for an average of like 20, 25s, and then we use the ultimate, and now he only hits for 12. Half of 25 is 12. So it's 12.5 to be specific, but half of 25 is pretty much 12, rounded down. And so that leads me to believe that it is a full-on damage decrease of 50%. It's 50% damage reduction. They should definitely change the wording on that so that we know just how strong it is, because that makes the ability a lot stronger than I thought it was based on the wording. Very cool, very strong. So now what we are going to do, now that we have gone completely over the warrior kit and we have gone over all of the different combos and things, we're going to go ahead and fight Big Jack Sprat here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's check our abilities one last time, prepare ourselves, and let's do this. So use your ultimate ASAP. You can go ahead and hit him with whatever you want. Now, while your ultimate's down, get him off balance and hit him with a decisive strike as soon as you can. Also, hit him with as many decisive strikes in between basic attacks and things like that as you possibly can. Now, I'm going to stun him off balance. The warrior class is very simple. You want to hit him with as many of these decisive strikes as you can because it's so strong. And every time your ultimate is up, you want to use it. Don't forget to combo and balancing strike and decisive strike at the same time. This is a very tough battle, by the way. I might not even win this, but I'm going to try. Okay, I'm stunning him. Decisive strike. Prepared strike. That's where most of our damage is going to be coming from. Okay, decreasing his damage. I should have waited before stunning him. I might lose because of that. Being able to stun him right now would be great, but I can't. Okay, hold on. Here comes the stun. Okay, he's off balance. Come on, I need to... Okay, good. We might... Ooh, it's close, guys. Nope, he got me. Alright, well, very close. But as you can see, we actually had a chance there, which means the warrior is pretty good at soloing. I want to point out, by the way, that I'm doing this with no weapon, cape, armor, helmet, or anything for that matter. I mean, I do have a weapon. It's the unarmed weapon here, dealing 27 to 34 damage, but that's all I have. That's it's basic as you can get, pretty much, because this is a level 5 gym. Everything else is like a level 1. So I guess if I wanted to go even more basic, I could try equipping like level 1, but I just wanted to run my unarmed. It makes sense to have at least a max level weapon plus your class, just in my eyes. Because you might not have a helmet, you might not have a cape, but you're going to have a weapon, right? So, anyway, that is the warrior class. Now, you will notice one thing about the warrior class. If we go over here to a room that has, like, multiple enemies, warrior is a single target class. And what that means is that we are not going to be hitting more than one enemy with our abilities. Now, that we do have an ability that can hit multiple enemies, But it's problematic because what it does is it ends up increasing our aggro while sort of not doing anything else. Like, sure, we could... I'm dead there. But as you can see, it's... You really don't want to be hitting multiple enemies with your warrior prepared strike ability. So this ability right here, your prepared strike, if you use it, then it hits everything around you. Which is really cool, because you're like, okay, that's cool, my warrior actually has some AoE, and it is good, but it's, like I said, it's not good for solo farming, because once you damage those enemies... Wait, am I hitting both of them? Hold on a second, the warrior is actually managing to hit multiple enemies. Guys, they made this game so much better. Warrior can kind of solo farm, I guess. I still would not recommend this. I still don't think I would recommend this. If I was playing Warrior, what I would do is probably just focus on my single target damage. And then bounce between targets one by one. Something like this. And then I'd go over here and I'd start fighting like this, because I can handle one enemy at a time a lot better than I can two. Even though I can hit two at a time if I want, I don't recommend it, guys, because you're going to be dying a lot, or you're going to be having to heal a lot. Which I'm not saying, like, I'm still dying a little bit, but you see how long I'm fighting without dying? This is good, because during those times I'm dealing damage. And I'm farming. And there's not a time whenever I'm not farming right now. Whereas earlier, whenever I was fighting multiple units at the same time, I was having to take frequent breaks. Like right here, I have to take a break, but I was able to slay about 5 monsters before I had to break. If I fight 2 monsters at the same time with Warrior, then it sort of forces me to take a break after I defeat 2 or 3. Which, like I said, probably not the best. But anyway, guys, we're done with Warrior now that I've explained that. I think Warrior, based on what I've seen so far, is definitely sort of like a boss slaying class. It's a single target class, even though it can hit multiple targets. Don't recommend it. I recommend going for sort of a single target strategy. And it seems to be pretty tanky, obviously. I mean, a 50% damage reduction is really good. The stun, really good. And very cool. I think it's very good. The fact that it can hit multiple targets is really good, because I was not expecting that until I paid closer attention and I realized that that's what it was doing. It actually has multiple AoE attacks. I think that is really good. I think that can be really good. I think that's very exciting. But now we're going to be moving on to the next class. Mage class. Recommended enhancement. Wizard. Magic courses through your veins. Your arcane powers enable you to cast powerful spells. Let's go ahead and equip it, and then we're going to go over these mage abilities. So, the first mage ability... Oh, you know, whenever we were looking at Warrior, I made the mistake and said that I think that all classes have the exact same auto attack, and I was actually wrong. So Mage actually has the Magic Missile auto attack with a 2-second cooldown. Double click a monster to start attacking it with magic missiles. And this actually has a passive, which I'm very interested in. Your magic missiles restore 10 mana, increase to 20 while below 30 mana. So remember what I was saying earlier about different classes have different ways to gain mana? That's what I was talking about, is you know, they literally have different ways of restoring their mana, such as the mage here with the magic missile passive that restores your mana which is really good. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better for your guaranteed basic attack to help you cast even more abilities. Moving on to the second ability here, we have Fireball, 15 mana cost with a 6-second cooldown. Hurls flame at your opponent, dealing damage and applying Scorched, a damage over time effect for 6 seconds. Deals double damage if frozen blood is active on the target, but consumes frozen blood. Now, there is an obvious combo here between the Fireball and frozen blood on the target. Or I suppose Scorched. Either okay, I have a question here, because it says that Scorched deals damage. Scorched deals damage over time, and then right after that it says deals double damage if frozen blood is active, which makes me wonder: is it talking about the Scorched damage over time? Is that what's doubled, or is it the Fireball base damage that is doubled? Is it the impact of the Fireball that is double damage, or is it the damage over time for the Fireball? There's no real clarification there, but based on how it's worded, I'm going to actually assume that it's going to be the damage over time effect that is dealing double damage. So pretty much, in the sense, if the enemy is frozen, if they have frozen blood active, and then you hit them with a Fireball, the Fireball itself is going to deal the exact same amount of damage as normal, but then the Scorch damage is going to trigger, and for 6 seconds, they're going to be taking double Scorch damage instead of just basic Scorch damage. They're going to be actually, it doubles the DOT. That's my assumption based on how it's worded. Now, it could be absolutely wrong. We're going to test it. Maybe the actual Fireball impact damage is what is doubled. Moving on, here is Ice Shard, the third mage ability. 15 mana with a 6-second cooldown, same cooldown as the Fireball, which I think is pretty cool. It launches a freezing shard at your target, dealing damage and applying frozen blood, reducing your target's haste by 10% for 6 seconds, but consuming Scorched. Also stuns for 3 seconds the first time used against the target. Wow, so the mage pretty much has a one-time use stun against every monster in the game, I guess. Which I don't think that I'm a fan of. Whereas the warrior can just always stun as long as the warrior has his stun ability. The mage seems to only be able to stun one time. It's a one and done effect. Once you stun that monster can't be stunned by you again until that monster dies. Based on what I'm reading here with Ice Shard. Let me see here. Reducing the target's haste does sound pretty good. I'm going to assume it's sort of like a slowing effect. I think haste pretty much increases your attack speed. It's kind of like auto attack speed. Also, it might be cooldown reduction. I'm not sure which one it is. It might be a little bit of both, which sounds pretty good. You get to reduce everything your enemy does. You get to make them 10% slower. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, the only problem here, it says that it consumes Scorch. So whenever you apply Frozen Blood, they are no longer scorched, and they're no longer going to be taking that damage over time. And that basically does nothing for you. It just gets rid of your DOT, and then that's it. Now they're frozen again, which is all right, I guess. But in my opinion, this means that you want to sort of time it correctly so that you're not getting rid of your scorched too early. What it seems like you want to do is hit them with an Ice Shard and sort of let that haste take effect for at least a few seconds, and then hit them with your Fireball, which will consume the Frozen Blood, and then ramp your DOT, and then let that DOT proc for the full 6 seconds, or at least 5 seconds, I would say. And then towards the end of the DOT cycle, I would go ahead and apply another Ice Shard which applies another Frozen Blood, slows them more, gets rid of the Scorched, but we don't care, it served its purpose anyway. And then rinse and repeat just between these two abilities, this two ability combo between Fireball and Ice Shard. Just comboing those two with each other is very good. It's very classic mage stuff. Moving on to the fourth mage ability, we have a 10 mana 3-second cooldown Explosion. Causes energies within your target to become unstable and burst forth, damaging up to 4 targets. If Scorched is active on a target, it detonates, dealing damage over 1 second. If Frozen Blood is active on a target, apply Shattered, reducing your target's physical damage by 10% for 4 seconds. Wow, that is a lot. Guys, that was a lot. Let's go over it in small chunks. So, the first part we need to pay attention to is that we can deal damage up to 4 targets. This is pretty much the first time that we've been able to see something damage just giant waves of enemies all at once. Whereas the warrior can hit multiple things that are in its area, like in its range. The warrior doesn't have very much range. So the warrior can hit a lot of things, but at the same time it really can't, because not that many things are going to be in your range at once. Whereas there's a big difference between something like the mage, because the mage, this is something I haven't mentioned yet, the mage is actually ranged. So the mage is going to be dealing damage with attacks and abilities from far away instead of close up. And so whenever you combine range with an ability like Explosion, things could get pretty crazy, because you're able to hit 4 targets at a range, which means you can pretty much hit 4 of anything you want. If there's 4 enemies on the screen, you can just hit them, all of them at the same time. Explosion is going to hit all of them, no matter how far they are from you, because of your range, which makes Explosion very good and very risky at the same time, because as a mage, you don't have a lot of health, you don't have a lot of defenses, and so you want to be careful whenever you're attacking 4 different things at the same time, because you got to think of it as you're taking aggro of 4 things at the exact same time at that point, whereas other classes aren't going to be able to do that. And so you're going to want to be careful on how you use Explosion. I'm going to go ahead and recommend, also, Explosion costs 10 mana, and it's got a very short cooldown, so it makes you want to spam it a lot. And in some cases, you definitely can. I think it's probably very good to farm with. But in a situation like a boss fight or something like that, like against Big Jack Sprat here, for example, I'm going to recommend trying not to use your Explosion too much, and to instead use the Fireball and Ice Shard combo, just to help save and preserve mana and to maximize your damage output. But let me just go ahead and continue going over Explosion, just to make sure that I'm not getting ahead of myself there. So if Scorched is active on a target, meaning that you hit them with a Fireball recently, it detonates. The Explosion detonates, dealing damage over 1 second. So like a 1 second DOT. If Frozen Blood is active on a target, apply Shattered, reducing your target's physical damage by 10% for 4 seconds. So it sort of weakens them. So first of all, what do we know about Scorched and Frozen Blood? I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it. What we know is that neither one of them can be active at the same time, because if they're Scorched and then you apply Frozen Blood, the Scorched is consumed. And if they have Frozen Blood and you apply Scorched, the Frozen Blood is consumed. And so Scorched and Frozen Blood can never be active at the same time. And so if we look at what Explosion does, then we know that Explosion is never going to be able to deal extra damage and reduce our target's damage at the same time. It can either do one or the other by consuming either Scorched or Frozen Blood, which we don't consume them, but you see what I'm saying. If they have Scorched, then it will detonate. If they have Frozen Blood, then we apply Shattered on top of the Frozen Blood. And those are the 2 options. We can never do both of those at the same time, which is very, I like it because it grants utility, but at the same time, like I said, guys, it's just so risky because you really want to spam explosion so you get a whole bunch of damage and you just literally explode and do tons of damage and DOT and just boom, boom, boom. But like I said, you're going to burn through a lot of mana doing that, and the damage output is not going to be worth the mana that you're spending, in my opinion. And then on top of that, instead, if you are doing the applying the Shattered, so you're stacking Frozen Blood and Shattered, that is cool because it sort of acts as a support mage at that point, where you're pretty much sort of trying to completely slow down your opponent and completely reduce their damage output, which I think is honestly really cool. If you're doing that, at that point, I would try not using fireballs. I would just go with the Ice Shard and go with reducing their haste with Frozen Blood, and then apply the explosion, which would apply Shattered, and then just keep sort of comboing off of that in my ult. So now that we've got explosion covered, it can do a lot of things. Like I said, you're only going to want to use explosion sometimes, guys. It is a situational ability, whereas Fireball and Ice Shard are going to be very good basically 100% of the time. Explosion is only going to be good maybe 50% to 75% of the time, in my honest opinion. Let's go ahead and check out the Mage's ultimate ability, Arcane Shield. It is a 0 mana ultimate ability, if you can believe it. I think that's probably one of the craziest parts about this ability, is the fact that it only costs 0 mana, and it's got a 20-second cooldown. So again, one of the longest cooldowns we've actually seen for a class. If I go compare it to Warrior, I believe Warrior's longest cooldown is actually, yep, it is 15 seconds. The Warrior's ultimate is a 15-second cooldown, compared to Mage, that is an entire 20-second cooldown, except for it only costs 0 mana, which is really cool. So Arcane Shield says that you shield yourself, increasing damage resistance by 20%, plus 5% of your intellect for 6 seconds. Now, this is actually kind of insane sounding based on what we know about Warrior, because Warrior decreases its damage taken by 50%. Now, this one can actually scale. This Arcane Shield can actually sort of scale. So it's got a base of 20%, which honestly for a mage, not bad as far as damage resistance goes. And then you get plus 5% of your intellect. Now, if we check that, we have 6 intellect right now. It's like max intellect seems to be 36. So if we look at 5% of 6, I mean, it's obviously not much. It is a tiny, minuscule amount that we are going to be getting from the Arcane Shield, but we still have that base of 20%, which, like I said, for a mage, very good to be able to become that tanky. To completely reduce 20% of the damage you take is just actually pretty crazy as a mage. And then it also says, taking damage while Arcane Shield is active removes 5 mana, and removing the effect of your mana is reduced to 0. Now, I have no idea what that second part means. Spending mana to pretty much... So you pay 0 mana to activate Arcane Shield, but then you have to pay mana every time you're hit in order to actually reduce that damage. Removing the effect of your mana is reduced to 0. Now, I have no idea what that means. I'm very confused at this entire second line on Arcane Shield. I feel like it probably doesn't matter that much. We just need to know that even though the ultimate costs 0 mana, we still have to pay mana in order for it to work, pretty much. I think is what it's trying to explain to us, which that's perfectly fine. It makes sense. Doesn't make any sense for our ultimate to cost 0 mana. It does make sense for us to have to pay at least a little bit of mana for our ultimate to work, which I don't mind. Now that we have that completely settled, let's go ahead and fight Big Jack Sprat with the mage class. We're going to be testing our solo abilities, our solo capabilities here with the mage class. So first things first, arcane shield. We're going to go ahead and apply our scorched DOT, and then I'm going to detonate it. And then I'm going to apply Frozen Blood. I'm going to let that Frozen Blood sit for a little bit, and then apply Scorched. And then I'm going to detonate that Scorched. I'm going to apply our shield, our Arcane Shield, and go for Frozen Blood. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's blow it up. 2, 3, 4. Let's detonate that. And apply Frozen Blood. 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and Scorch. And detonate it. Let's get our shield running. So as you can see, Mage does actually have a pretty big problem at soloing. Whereas, let's go ahead and get out of this. Whereas the Warrior was actually able to have a chance against Big Jack Sprat as long as we had some high rolls as far as our damage goes, and the enemy had some low rolls with their damage, the Mage just absolutely does not stand a chance in this kind of scenario against a monster of this nature. Even whenever you play it to like a pretty good extent. I will try it again right here. Let's reduce, and then we can apply that Scorched. We'll detonate it and then instantly apply Frozen Blood. His damage output is just way too high. But this is why I give Warriors so much credit whenever it comes to actually fighting one-on-one. Is because Mage just can't do it. Mage is not built like that. However, do not worry, guys. Do not worry, all of my Mage mains out there and people that like Mage, because I will show you one thing that Mage is good at. It might not be good at fighting one just giant monster of a boss, but what it can do is it's very good at fighting multiple targets because of how much you can spam your explosion. Okay, this is actually pretty risky. Nope, I died. Well, I did have an undead berserker in there, but much better than Warrior. If you're gonna do it, I would just do it that way. Like, let's try these weaker guys without the berserker. Your damage output with the explosion is going to be much more than the Warrior can give you, even though the Warrior can hit multiple targets as well. Kind of forgot to apply my shield. Not that it matters anyway, because I don't like using that much mana. But I am dead again. It's just very hard to actually farm multiple units at the same time in this game. Currently, as it stands. Mage, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Mage is, Mage seems kind of weak. It's seeming kind of bottom tier right now. It could just be like an item thing, an enhancement thing, I guess. Let me see something. I don't have a specific enhancement on my weapon. It is just a common power 24. There is no real actual enhancement. I'm dead again. No problem. But I just feel like the fighter the warrior outclasses the mage so much right here. I had more faith in the mage's ability to fight multiple units. There's people here for some reason. Okay, let's try up here. Go away, I'm trying to do a solo run. Unless you're a viewer. Are you a viewer? If you're a viewer, like, I don't mind. I'm just not trying to chill with randoms while I'm doing some testing. Okay, so Arcane Shield, blow everybody up. My goodness. I don't know about mage. It's actually seeming bottom tier, but maybe you just need a tank, I guess, which is a shame because I felt like warrior didn't really need a tank. Warrior was the tank, and warrior was quite fine. But yes, that is the mage class, guys. Sorry if that seemed a little disappointing. Like, as you can see here, there's somebody fighting with us, helping take a little bit of aggro, so we can sort of help them and deal with our own thing at the same time. Which is not a bad spot for mage. It's not a bad spot for mage to be. Hey, get in here and help me. I can't do it alone, I'm just a mage. Alright, well. So that's mage class. It is a little bit disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. I had a little more faith in it, but it's fine. Let's go ahead and equip our next class. Rogue. Recommended enhancement, Thief. Rogues follow their own set of rules. With a combination of speed, cunning, and poisons, you take your enemies by surprise. Let's go ahead and equip that. We're going to move on to Big Jack Sprat. This room has become actually kind of filled up with people somehow, even though it was meant to be a private room. So let's check out these abilities. Here is our auto attack. One of the quickest auto attacks that I've actually seen on a class. It's a 1.5 second cooldown. Very good. Double click to start attacking. It's a basic attack taught to all adventurers, except this one has a passive. The rogue basic attack does have a passive. Recover 2% of your max HP and 15 mana upon avoiding an attack. Wow! So whenever we dodge, we get some HP back and some mana back from that. That is actually so cool. Wow, that makes me want to just dodge everything, guys. So that is the rogue basic attack, with a passive built into it. The classes are feeling good so far. The tier list is, I got warrior at a clean A, because I didn't really have much to compare it to yet, except for mage. And I'm going to go ahead and put mage at a clean, I guess I gotta put it C tier, because I know that it can be useful, but it is just not very useful by itself right now. I cannot lie. You cannot solo really anything with mage, and you can't do a lot of farming by yourself with mage because of how squishy you are. So mage is at a clean bean C. I'm not gonna lie. Fun fact for warrior, prior to this alpha release in the previous playtest, the spin ability used to last as long as you held it down and was apparently super fun and satisfying. People want it back. That sounds cool. Like, it just runs your mana out as you hold it down. That's pretty cool. Let's move on to the second rogue ability, the Viper's Kiss. 3 mana cost, not bad. Like, super low mana cost right there. Very cool. I like that mana cost. With a 3-second cooldown, low mana cost paired with a low cooldown is sounding very nice. Dash towards a nearby target, striking them and applying Viper's Kiss. A damage over time effect for 5 seconds, stacks to 3. So we can apply 3 Viper's Kiss. The dash sounds really good. The movement sounds cool. And yeah, that's basically it. That's Viper's Kiss. You just stack a DOT onto them. And I like that a lot. Stacks up to 3. Opportunity Strike. 10 mana. 4-second cooldown. Okay. I hope this is a good ability because of the mana cost. Throw daggers forward, dealing 25% increased damage for each stack of Viper's Kiss on the target. Very cool. So we got a combo here. What you're going to want to do is apply as many stacks of Viper Kiss as you possibly can to a single target, if not multiple. And then once you have those stacks fully stacked, you want to just go ahead and drop your Opportunity Strike to throw your daggers and deal a maximum of 75% increased damage comboed with the Viper's Kiss. You definitely want to combo the Opportunity Strike with the Viper's Kiss instead of just sort of spamming it at every opportunity, if you know what I mean. You instead want to stack your Viper's Kiss and then use the Opportunity Strike. Really good. It makes, I can already tell based on these first 3 abilities, even the basic attack, I can tell that Rogue is going, it's probably A tier already. And I can tell that it's going to be really good at slaying bosses because it has dodge and it has damage over time and it has a lot of single target damage. And single target damage usually means that it can fight bosses really good, just to go ahead and tell you. The opportunity, I like it. I like the first 3 abilities of the kit. Let's go ahead and check out Stiletto. This is the 4th rogue ability, 15 mana, 10-second cooldown. I hope that this is a great ability. It's got a long cooldown. Leap through the air, delivering a powerful strike upon landing. I like how much mobility the rogue seems to have. If your target has Viper's Kiss, which we know that it probably will, deal its remaining damage increased by up to 200% based on their missing HP, capped at 25% remaining HP. Very interesting. So, based on what this says, I'm going to guess that it just really deals more and more damage depending on how low your opponent is, how low your target is. Like if they're on 25% remaining HP, then you're going to be dealing 200% extra Viper's Kiss damage whenever you use Stiletto, which seems just really, really good because the Viper's Kiss damage was probably already good, and then you're pretty much doubling it, if not tripling it, depending on how low your enemy is. I mean, that is just really good. Let's go ahead and check out this Rogue Ultimate to tie it all together with the Rogue class. It costs 5 mana. Wow, an Ultimate that only costs 5 mana. But it does have a 16-second cooldown. I'm noticing the Rogue has some pretty cheap abilities. Footwork takes an invasive stance. Applies Footwork, increasing your dodge by 50% for 5 seconds. If used while close to your target, you also kick them, dealing damage. Wow. So just like Mage, just like Warrior, our ultimate is a defensive ability where we take a dodge stance. We take a stance where we start dodging by 50%. Instead of just a raw damage reduction, instead we have a 50% increase to dodge, which is really good because we can combo that with our passive where we gain more mana and HP as we dodge, which we need. So the footwork is obviously going to be pretty good, like I said. Probably puts this class in the A tier because if you think about 50% dodge is basically being 50% flat damage reduction, then pretty much we're looking at a copy and pasted Warrior right here, except for less defense and more damage, which is going to be really cool and really fun. I can't wait to go ahead and start trying this out. Now, I was looking at damage numbers like between all of the different classes, Or at least for Warrior, I was being very specific and checking out the damage numbers and everything. But I didn't do that for Mage, I guess, because it's not very important. So we're not going to be focusing on the damage numbers too much. But since Rogue is a basic attack class, I do want to test my basic attacks real quick. So basic attacks dealing a lot less than the Warrior. That has me a little spooked. Why am I dealing less than I was with the Warrior? You know what I mean? I guess because the it has less cooldown, so it deals less damage as a way to balance it. That's fine. I'm gonna heal up right there, and let's go look at Jack Sprat. So here's Big Jack Sprat. We're gonna go ahead and take him on. And what we want to do is just start with Viper's Kiss and start stacking it as much as we can and using our ultimate as much as we can. Okay, that's a fully stacked Viper's Kiss. I'm going to go ahead and start spamming Viper's Kiss along with all of my other abilities. Like I said, you really want to just spam Viper's Kiss. You want to spam your ultimate. Running low on mana, not a big fan of that. Hopefully we can dodge a little bit more. I'm wondering if I need to cut one of these abilities out of my rotation for these boss fights. I know I want as much Viper's Kiss as I can get. And Stiletto is also really good. I'm thinking you could probably cut Opportunity Strike out of your rotation. I'm going to try this real quick. Like I said, clean A tier here on the Rogue class. Maybe a little worse than Warrior, so maybe more like B tier. We'll have to see. I'm going to recommend that we cut Opportunity Strike out of our kit for now, because the extra 75% damage for the 10 mana is probably just not worth it whenever I can use Stiletto, which is going to be dealing a lot more damage theoretically, I think. Just because Opportunity Strike is such a low cooldown. It's a little scary. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on Viper's Kiss, Stiletto, and our ultimate. That is all we need. Here comes the Stiletto, Viper's Kiss, and then ult. Okay, it's pretty even right now. There's the Stiletto. Stiletto is dealing a lot of damage. Holy moly, Stiletto is dealing like 287. There's a Viper's Kiss. There's an ult. There's a Stiletto dealing 274. Like I said, Stiletto is worth it. The damage is worth it. I'm at full mana. I think Rogue can definitely handle this. With no items or anything, just the weapon. If I just get my combos right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that right there. That was a bit of a failure. But I was staying at completely full mana that entire time, which lets me know Opportunity Strike is the problem. And I think that's the reason it's called Opportunity Strike, is because you only want to use it sometimes. You want to use it at the right opportunity. Instead of just using it every chance you get, you want to sort of wait until it's the right time, so that way you're not just spending all of your mana. So let's go ahead and try that right now. Viper's Kiss into our ultimate, and we're just going to go ahead, stack up that Viper's Kiss. There we go. Should be stacked pretty fairly. Okay, stack another Viper's Kiss. I'm going to go ahead and use Opportunity Strike, and then use our Footwork ultimate. Use Stiletto, Viper's Kiss. We're kind of running out of mana there, so I'm going to wait before using Opportunity Strike. And there's a Stiletto. I'm going to go ahead and use an Opportunity Strike just to get some damage in there. Here comes the Stiletto. We are getting pretty low, but the boss is pretty low too. Let me use an Opportunity Strike just to get that damage. Let's use our ult. Here comes the stiletto. That should be some good damage. It is. We are dodging a lot. We're dealing plenty of damage. Here comes the stiletto. Should be a lot of damage. We're going through our mana with the opportunity strike, but it's fine because there's an ult. Oh my goodness, we're on 52 health. Oh my goodness, we just did it with 9 health. Like I said, Rogue, I think, is a definite A tier. I almost wanted to put it in B tier because it seemed a little weaker than Warrior. But, I mean, it handled Big Jack Sprat pretty easily. It was close. It was close, but all the classes get pretty close based on what I can tell. Warrior gets close. Mage does not get very close. That's why I have Mage in C tier. And then Rogue's pretty good. The only thing is, I think Rogue is actually completely single target. Rogue is completely single target. Kind of like I thought Warrior was. Rogue doesn't have a single AoE skill. I think Rogue is just so good, actually. Rogue is pretty good, guys. Definitely giving it an A tier. Poison and dodge heal? Yeah, very sick, dude. Rogue, probably one of my favorite base classes so far. Warrior is, like, I'm a Warrior enjoyer, but what in the world? What's up, Not Pine Oak? Did you just go to me? The heck was that? How did you even end up here? That was interesting. Was that a viewer? Anyway, that's Rogue class. Completely single target. There's no doubt about that. It's probably one of the strongest single target classes we have viewed so far. Now, coming up next, we're going to be viewing the healer class. Before that, I'm going to be taking a quick break. Let's take a quick break on the stream, guys, and I'll be right back. Give me... What in the world? I don't know what that was. You guys can hear me this entire time, right? Like, I just looked over, it said microphone muted, no signal, an hour ago. That's just a bug, right? We're good. Taking a quick bathroom break, coming back so that we can check out Healer, check out Dragon Slayer, and see where we're kind of at after that on our current class tier list. So I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I gotta check this audio as well. good to go. Thank you for staying tuned through the little break. Sorry about the break, guys. We are back with our Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity live stream class test and analysis and review. What in the world? What's up, Pine Oak? How did you have a green name? Hold on 1 second, guys. My audio. There we go. My audio got a little messed up, but I'm good. What's up, Pine Oak? People are just here talking, that's fine. I was wondering if this Pine Oak person is a viewer. We need to, let's move somewhere else. I'm going to Graveyard 100. Can I not do that? Joining Graveyard 1999. Because I didn't want to deal with randoms at the moment. Microphone seems to be good. Alright. Guys, this rogue class does so much damage, actually. Okay. Now we are finally on healer class. Let's go ahead and move on to our 4th class of the night. Healer. It's a magical class. Recommended enhancer, healer. Healers are servants of good who use their powers to aid the sick, weak, and injured. Their powerful healing magic is often the difference between a group's victory or doom. Let's go ahead and equip it up. Alright, I really like the healer icons. I really like the ability icons for the healer. So if we check it out here, we have auto attack with a 2-second cooldown, pretty regular cooldown, and it has no passives or anything. It's just a basic auto attack, just like the warrior. Here is the healer's, I almost said mage, here's the healer's second ability. 10 mana, 2-second cooldown, very, very short cooldown. Heartbeat, a pulsating magical spell, deals damage, plus additional damage equal to 3.5% of your current HP, increased to 10% if energy flow is active. So we have a combo right here, a spammable combo at that, and plus it just sort of works with itself by always dealing an extra 3.5% of your current HP as bonus damage, which is pretty insane. I feel like healer is going to be dealing a lot of damage, and if you combo it with energy flow, it is going to be dealing so much damage, actually. So let's continue. Eventually we'll figure out how to get energy flow. Our third ability is Healing Word. This is where the healing comes in. What in the world? Pine Oak, you're back. So you are going to me. That's fine. If you're a viewer, I don't mind if you like chill. I just had to know that you were actually a viewer. And now I'm pretty sure I know. Okay, sorry. Anyway, this is where our actual healer ability comes into play. Healing Word, 20 mana, 8-second cooldown. So pretty good cooldown and pretty hefty mana cost right here. However, this ability heals you and up to 3 additional nearby targets while applying radiance. A heal over time effect for 5 seconds. So, wow. Not only does this ability just straight up heal us, but it also applies a heal over time. The basic heal is probably really good, but the heal over time on top of that is just even better, because it's like you don't need it. So Radiance is honestly really good, especially if it combos with anything else in our kit, which I don't know yet. We'll have to continue on to see. Now here's Energy Flow. Very important ability since it combos with our Heartbeat ability. Energy Flow costs 5 mana, not a bad mana cost. Has an 8-second cooldown, which is pretty reasonable. Applies Energy Flow to yourself, causing your auto attack to restore 10 additional mana while empowering the next use of either Heartbeat or Holy. Also applies Inhibition, reducing your target's physical and magical damage by 10% for 8 seconds. wow, really good. Energy Flow is honestly a great ability, not only because it combos and increases the damage of Heartbeat, but also because it applies inhibition more specifically, completely reducing our target's damage by 10%. That that is so good, especially like in boss fights. Excuse me, ultra bosses, um, just regular grinding, uh, pretty much anything you could think of that requires teamwork in this game. This energy flow ability just does almost everything that you could want. Um, just the 10% damage reduction by itself, reducing how much damage a monster is dealing to you and your party, you and your teammates. Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything better, especially for that mana cost. What a great ability. Then finally we have Holy, which is the healer's ultimate. It costs 20 mana, 5-second cooldown. Whoa, what is that cooldown? Lowest cooldown I've seen so far for an ultimate, only 5 seconds, but the mana cost is pretty tremendous. Holy summons a beam of light that smites your target. Hits up to 4 targets if energy flow is active. Deals 25% more damage to undead. Wow. Healer is kind of busted, especially on this map, apparently. Dealing 25% more damage to undead with our ultimate just seems sort of unfair when trying to test this class out and compare it to other classes whenever we've been fighting undead monsters. Perhaps I should go to a different map with healer just to actually test out the damage differences, but that's fine. This seems really good, so we can actually use energy flow to enhance our Holy as well. If we don't want to enhance Heartbeat, then we can just enhance Holy. Plus, Heartbeat will just automatically be enhanced by energy flow no matter what. So most likely we do want to use energy flow to increase our Holy damage. The fact that Holy can hit 4 targets makes me wonder if healer is possibly a better farmer, a better multi-target AoE farmer than mage currently. But there's no way to tell that unless we test it out. Like I said, it's kind of unfair to test healer against Big Jack Sprat, but we've already tested all the other classes against them, so we might as well. I'm not sure if the 25% damage increase on our ultimate is really going to make that big of a difference, but we'll just have to go ahead and see. So the way we're going to start this is just by instantly using Heartbeat and then applying energy flow and using Heartbeat again. And we're just going to sort of save our ultimate. I'm going to apply energy flow and then use our ultimate. Our ultimate's dealing 123 damage. It's not bad. I would like to try to get my mana. Let's check the heal. So that's how much we're healing for. Guys, healer might actually be S tier. I think healer might be S tier. Yep, I'm just back to full health again. This guy has no chance at killing me, actually. Healer's S tier currently. This is just easy. Even without... I don't even actually have to use my ult, and I can easily defeat this guy. It's not even the damage increase against undead. It is actually just the heal itself. It's like Kirito, whenever Kirito just heals faster than the enemy can damage him. It is just like that. I can just use my heal if things look bad, and I can just go right back to full health. Like I said, not only is the base heal from this ability really good, but then you just get Radiance, which gives you a heal over time, which is basically just unnecessary based on how much I'm healing. Like, I don't also need a heal over time. I'll take it, but it makes healer S tier. I will just go ahead and say that. There is an obvious difference in what I'm doing with healer than every other class so far. And it has nothing to do with my ult. It's really just my healing word ability. making sure that I never go below full health, pretty much. I can just always have full health. Kind of broken. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to balance that, but guys, healer is S tier no matter what, it seems. So that's what it's like when fighting a boss with healer. You pretty much can just fight it and annihilate it with barely trying. So now, let's go ahead and move to this room, and we're going to try some multi-target fighting with the healer. Now, the problem with this is that healer only has one multi-target skill, and it's the ult. So chances are this is going to go pretty bad, just like it did with every other class. But who knows? I mean, healer, like I said, it seems pretty S tier. So let's just go ahead and see how we're looking. Apply energy flow. Just go ahead and start hitting everything, and then heal since we're low. Hit everything again. The heal doesn't come back very quickly. Nope, we died. Man, multi-target farming is actually pretty tough. Very tough currently in this game. It could just be the map as well. But that is fine. I'm still going to put the healer in S tier, just because of what we did to Jack Sprat. That seemed pretty insane. That seemed pretty insane. I mean, we can just beat most bosses, I'm going to assume, currently. Unless it's like a very overpowered boss. Like it's meant to take multiple people no matter what. Unless it's like a boss like that, I think the healer is going to be able to have it covered. So definitely grab yourself healer class out there for anybody who is playing Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity and wanting to do a bunch of solo bosses or anything like that, some solo grinding, farming. It's not very great for multi-target, but none of these classes are, and it's going to be great for single target, honestly. S tier single target class. Let's go ahead and move on to our final class of the day. We have Dragon Slayer. Recommended enhancement: Fighter. Dragon Slayers are specialized warriors specifically trained to hunt dragons and dragonkin. Let's equip it. So this is actually the class that I'm currently maining in the game, just because, you know, I like the uniqueness of it, because, you know, warrior, rogue, mage, healer, those are all pretty obvious choices. But then you have Dragon Slayer kind of standing over there off to the side, just gaining aura all by itself. And so that's why I went with Dragon Slayer, because it's just cool. It's just a cool class. It's pretty much just a warrior. It's another version of warrior, if I have to give my honest opinion on it. It might even be stronger, but we'll have to see. So right now I currently have warrior in A tier. I have rogue in a pretty high A tier. And I have mage in C tier. And then I have healer in S tier. So let's go ahead and see where we place Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer's first ability, the auto attack, actually has a passive. It's a 2-second cooldown on this auto attack. Very usual. Let's check out this passive. Your skills grant you determination. At 50 determination, you become determined, empowering your next skill with an additional effect. So, and we could double click a monster to start auto attacking. Damages one target and grants 5 determination. So every time we basic attack, we get 5 determination. So 10 basic attacks mean we become determined, empowering our next skill. Very cool. Let's go ahead and check out our first ability here. Our second ability, our number 2, Scorch Steel. 3-second cooldown. No mana cost. I'm just now noticing it seems Dragon Slayer requires no mana, whereas every other class requires mana. Dragon Slayer requires 0 mana. This class might actually be S tier right now because of that. Let's see what this class does. Scorch Steel ignites your weapon, striking nearby targets with a flaming slash and gaining 10 determination. So if we're getting 5 from our basic attacks, we get 10 whenever we use this ability. And if we're determined, then it strikes 3 times in quick succession instead of just once. Wow, that is really good. Also, I want to point out that this is a multi-hit skill. So this could actually be really good for grinding and farming. Here is our third ability, Impale, 6-second cooldown. Thrust forward, pulling hit targets toward you and inflicting them with bleeding. A 3-second DOT. So we have DOT and we have crowd control. This is the first time that I've actually seen some crowd control other than like slowing and stunning. We have straight up being able to move our enemy by pulling them towards us, which is really, really cool, guys. I think that's actually pretty cool. And then on top of that, we got the 3-second damage over time. We gain 10 determination upon striking an enemy. So that is really cool. I'm going to assume that we gain 10 determination. It can stack, like if we hit multiple enemies with Impale, then we'll gain 10 determination multiplied by the amount of enemies that we actually hit. And if that is true, then that is really cool. I hope that's how that works. If we're determined, then this Impale ability heals us for 15% of our maximum HP, plus an amount based on your endurance. What the heck are you telling us we get a heal? So if we Impale and we're determined, it heals us for 15% of our max HP. So 15% heal right there, plus an extra amount. Really good. I really like this ability, and I like the fact that it heals us. We know based on the healer that healing is very strong and puts you in potential S tier status, depending on how much you can actually heal. Here is our fourth ability with the Dragon Slayer class. Incapacitate with a 10-second cooldown. Leap towards your target, striking them in nearby targets upon landing and gaining 10 determination. I'm noticing that most of our abilities do give us 10 determination, which I don't mind that. 10 determination no matter what we do is pretty good. Also, I like how this ability has movement. The Dragon Slayer having that extra movement is probably going to be really good. This ability applies Weakened, reducing your target's physical and magical damage by 10% for 5 seconds. We know that that's really good. Really puts the Dragon Slayer into a support category, because if you can weaken your opponent and reduce their damage, I mean, you couldn't. This is ultra boss level stuff with base level classes. So I think it's actually really cool. If there's one thing that I want to see from this game, I want to see the base classes be just as strong as all the other classes. And I know that sounds crazy, and I know that's probably a hot take, but that is my honest to God take, is that I want the base classes to be super strong, even compared to other classes. And the reason I want that is because I don't want base classes to become useless. Simple as that. I don't want there to be a single class in this game, okay? This is your chance, Artix Entertainment, to make this happen. I don't want there to be a single class in this game that is useless. I don't want to see you wasting your time designing a class and designing the way a class looks and the way the abilities look and balancing that class just for that class to become useless. And that goes for the base classes as well. So pretty much what that means is that I would like for this game and all the classes inside of this game to have sort of a general balanced atmosphere of similarity in power levels. I do not want classes to be obviously stronger than each other. I want classes to be very similar in power level no matter what, across the board, all of them. I want all classes to be balanced. This is just one thing I'm asking for, and right now it's looking like it could be possible. I mean, we're talking about things like stuns, damage reduction, the heals are one thing, obviously. All of those things are like ultra boss level stuff that classes need in order to be competitive. And so seeing that these base classes have these kind of features and statistics and abilities, I think is really good. I think this is very good direction. I want to continue in this direction. Okay, that's all I ask for. By the way, Mage needs a buff. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. But yeah, sorry for kind of going crazy and glazing so hard on this incapacitate ability, but the reason I'm glazing it so hard is because of that damage reduction. The 10% damage reduction on anything is really good, especially if you start stacking it with other things. Like I said, this is ultra boss level stuff. Being able to reduce if a boss can one-shot one of your allies, but you reduce the damage by 10%, that probably means it can no longer one-shot one of your allies. That's why it's so important. That's why this incapacitate ability is really good. Not to mention, if you're determined, it stuns for 3 seconds. So incapacitate is going to be one of the best Dragon Slayer abilities here, in my honest opinion. If not impale, I believe if you're going for a solo boss fight, you probably want to go for determined impale every chance you get. But if you're playing with a team, then you probably want to go for that determined incapacitate. Anyway, moving on. I haven't really seen any combos. Have we seen any combos, guys? I haven't seen any combos. It's just all-out assault. Moving on to the Dragon Slayer ultimate, called Dragon's Bane, with a 25-second cooldown. Has a passive. Your skills deal 20% more damage to Dragonkin. So, actually gives Dragon Slayer the Dragon Slayer name by making us deal 20% more damage to dragons. Which probably means everything else about this class is going to be naturally nerfed because of the 20% extra damage to dragons. Probably means that everything else is sort of nerfed because of that, I guess. Hopefully not. But we'll be able to tell pretty quickly whenever we test against Jack Sprat. We test with the multi-target and all of that. But with Dragon's Bane, other than the passive, whenever we activate it, we unleash the power of our Dragon Blade, instantly granting us 50 determination, and applies Dragon Bane for 10 seconds, doubling our skill's determination gain and increasing our bonus damage against Dragonkin to 50%. Excuse me. Bonus against Dragonkin to 50%. So, pretty much, I don't like the fact that it only increases our damage to dragons, but if you ignore it and you just look at it at a base level, a base floor of plus 50 determination, that right there is really good, because as soon as you use your ult, you could just go ahead and hit him with an impale, heal yourself for 15% of your max HP, and apply a bleed, and gain another 10 determination on top of that, and just yada yada, whatever, continue on. But if you're going against a dragon, then of course you're going to be dealing just crap tons of damage. So makes this class kind of cool. Makes you hope that they add some more dragon types along the way as well. But that's what our ultimate does. The most important thing about our ult, without a doubt, is the instant plus 50 determination, and then the double determination gain for 10 seconds. That's going to be the two best things about this class, because now all of a sudden our impale gives us 20 determination, and then our scorch steel gives us another 20 determination, and all we need, and by then we probably auto attack twice, we got another 50 determination just like that. So really, Dragon's Bane is going to be pretty cool. That's why it has such a long cooldown. It's almost half a minute cooldown, 25-second cooldown, but very good ability. Like I said, no combos really. It's just up to you how you want to sort of combo everything here. The good news is mana is not a thing. Now, if I'm going to have one question about this class, it's going to be, how do I know how much determination I have? If I can see how much determination I have, then I can sort of choose what ability I want to be determined. Now, if I can't see, then I'll just have to, try to count in my head, which is probably not going to be good whenever I'm trying to figure out what abilities to use. But anyway, enough talk. Let's just go ahead and start this battle here. I'm going to start by just basic attacking using my ult to go ahead and get that guaranteed plus, and then go for a weakened stun. Nice, I'm at 50 determination. Okay, so I'm going to stop this battle real quick because I want to show something. So my mana bar in the top left, if you look at the top left of the screen, usually you can see where my health is, and then right under that is my determination. Now usually that determination bar is a mana bar, but since we have no mana, our determination is showed there instead. And it looks like my determination is staying even though I'm out of combat. And I think that is really cool too. That means that you can farm determination before you even actually fight what you're meaning to fight, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and fight Big Jack Sprat, since I can now see what my determination is. I'm going to ult, and then I'm going to go for the weakened. And, okay, I'm going to heal myself for 15% there. Use all my abilities, because that gives me determination. And then heal myself again. Okay, guys, Dragon Slayer might be S tier, because the heal is indeed keeping me at full health as long as I use it. I'm using Impale. I kind of figured this was going to be the strong ability. I figured Impale was going to be the S tier ability. Whenever I use it, I restore 15% of my max HP. So as long as I spam it, then I will never run out of HP. And to me, that makes this class S tier. Well, I won't run out of HP as long as I'm only fighting a single target. If I'm fighting multiple targets, it's going to get a little bit harder to heal, obviously. That's kind of the whole problem with fighting multiple targets. That's why none of the classes are good at fighting multiple targets, because those targets hit. They all hit at the same time, and they all hurt. But as you can see, we just defeated Big Jack Sprat easily with the Dragon Slayer class by just simply making sure to use Impale whenever we're determined, keeping us at full health. And then every now and then using our stun and applying the weakened works pretty good too, because our ultimate gives us so much determination that in the downtime of using and healing from Impale, we can use Incapacitate. That makes Dragon Slayer so good, guys. Let's go for one more fight here against Big Jack Sprat. Go for the weaken and the stun. Also, basic attack damage is comparable to the warrior. I kind of messed up my my abilities. I'm messing up my rotation a little bit. Let me go for 2 basic attacks here. Okay, go for the heal. What makes this class S tier, though, is that even if you mess up, you can fix it really easily with that heal. You can just use nothing but the heal, and boom, you're right back to full health. Boom, with nothing to worry about, just like that. S tier, without a doubt. If not S tier, at least a high A. We haven't tested it against multi-target yet. We definitely need to do that. Hold on a sec, guys. I'm going to read your comments. I'm just trying to min-max here. Boop. I'll show you guys why the ultimate is so strong. So I'm at basically 0 determination. I pop ultimate, go to full determination, use Impale. I basically heal all of my health. I'm going to use this ability, and then boom, weaken plus stunned. Hit him with Impale, heal all of our health. Like I said, pretty simple S tier class right there. What's up, Salamance? Welcome to the stream. Healer is better than all. Will I do more damage to dragons eventually? Yes. Dragon Slayer definitely deals more damage to dragons. Yeah, Healer and Dragon Slayer, top tier. Have you tried using enhancement gems? I have enhancement gems. However, I haven't That's a cool item. I haven't grinded for the good gems. This is like my best gem right here. I haven't even used it yet. I don't have any gem builds. I don't have any gem builds right now. That's why I'm going in completely naked. The point of this test is just to it's like a naked test. It's the test what the class is like just purely by itself with no enhancements or anything like that, and comparing all of them together. I wish Rogue was better because it has potential. Sadly, Rogue is not S tier, but it is A tier. It's high A tier at that. I have 1.8k HP at level 5. You want to go for gems that have high strength stat. High strength and high luck is what matters for physical classes. Yes. So, strength, I'm guessing, increases your attack damage, like your auto attacks and ability damage and things like that for physical, such like classes like Warrior and Dragon Slayer and Rogue. How I was making the distinction between how Healer is a magical class, so is Mage, and then Warrior, Rogue, and Dragon Slayer are all physical. And Fighter sort of the Fighter enhancement increases your physicality, like your endurance and your strength. And then the luck enhancement increases your critical hit chance and your critical hit damage, which plays that can actually play into magic or physicality, but it plays mostly into physicality just because of how much you're going to be hitting with a physical class. You probably want some luck just to increase your critical hits and stuff like that, because if you're a mage, then you don't really need that many crits because your abilities are already going to be hitting so hard that they might as well be a crit. There's still one thing we haven't done with the Dragon Slayer test. We need to test out its multi-target abilities. So let's go ahead and do that now. By, let me think. Let's pop our ult and just use this ability. Okay. Fighting 2 right now. Healing a little bit. Trying to balance the determination use is a little bit hard. About to die here. Yep. So Dragon Slayer is kind of in the same boat as the other classes when it comes to multi-target fighting. You probably just want to be fighting single target, maybe sometimes picking up an extra target, but not too often. If I try fighting both of these guys at the same time and sort of bringing them over here, going in with an ability like that and using that so I can heal. Okay, keeping my determination up, going for an impale. Boom. Getting ready to use another impale. I really like impale because that is our heal. That is basically what makes this class S tier. Just being able to heal that much. Boom. There's another heal. If you're looking at my health in the top left, you will see it. Boom. I'm using that to help me farm. This class is S tier, as you can see. We are fighting and farming consistently without having to stop to rest. Now, we are going to have to stop to rest eventually, but you can just tell the difference in using this class and using the other classes whenever it came to this multi-target farming. Wow. Really cool. I am just very impressed with Dragon Slayer, guys. I am very impressed with Dragon Slayer. It might actually be better than Healer. Now, I'm sure I think, without a doubt, Healer and Dragon Slayer are the best classes in the game. Okay, and I think that they're better in different situations. I think that Dragon Slayer might actually have Healer beat as far as multi-farming goes. But I think Healer, without a doubt, has Dragon Slayer beat as far as boss farming goes. However, Dragon Slayer is right there with Healer. Like, they're neck and neck. In fact, Dragon Slayer might be better for bosses just because of the damage output. It's hard to say. That was kind of the point of the stream, is be able to test things like this and really test. So let's go do that real quick as a final thing here. So pretty much here is our tier list. We have Warrior at A. Warrior is just a solid A tier. Rogue is A plus, in my opinion. Maybe, yeah, Rogue definitely A plus, because of the dodging and the healing and all that. Mage is C. Sadly, I do hate that Mage is C. I don't know why, but it just seems to not be able to survive very well, and it just doesn't deal enough damage to trade off for this non-survivability. Mage just isn't doing enough right now. Please buff the damage on Mage. You can literally probably doubling the damage of Mage might be a little too much, but a solid 50% increase on Mage abilities is probably good. You want your Mage dealing lots of damage, okay? Healer, without a doubt, S tier. Not sure if I would put it at S plus. I mean, maybe. I would put Healer at S plus because of the support. The fact that you can heal 4 allies is so good. And plus the heal over time, plus it deals damage, and plus for no reason you can just deal extra damage against undead targets, and undead is pretty popular type of creature, type of monster in this game. So Healer, easy S plus, to be honest. And then Dragon Slayer, definite S tier. As far as S plus goes, I definitely put it in S plus because for different reasons than the Healer. I put Healer in S plus because of the team fights, okay? Because of team play. Healer, of course, has better team play because it's meant to heal your teammates. And it's really good support. So Healer is an S plus support class. Dragon Slayer is an S plus farming class, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because, like I showed, you can actually sort of farm multiple targets with Dragon Slayer, and you don't feel too bad about it because of the healing abilities that it has. You just want to make sure that you're sort of spamming your healing ability, and you'll feel pretty good about the farming. You just want to be careful, though. You don't want to drag too many targets. If there's one thing that I feel like Dragon Slayer has a problem with, it's cooldowns. I feel like cooldowns are actually a pretty big problem with Dragon Slayer. But all the classes have issues with the farming, and I think that Dragon Slayer might actually be one of the best if you figure out like a good little spot to farm at. Like where you're farming at least 2 enemy units at the same time. I think Dragon Slayer will probably have you pretty covered, at least at a naked level. Now, if you start adding enhancements to all of these classes, it could completely... I know that it definitely makes you stronger, without a doubt. Like, the reason I'm not able to farm and everything by myself, and I'm barely able to kill bosses with some of the classes, is because I don't have any enhancements. But I still think that, like, since my character is technically max level, that it's more of a testament to the class itself to see how they perform without enhancements than it would be to give them enhancements. Because at that point, it's not the enhancement. I mean, it's not the class doing the work anymore. It's the enhancement, right? So that's why I didn't want to use the enhancements. But that is pretty much it. I do want to do one thing real quick. I want to see who defeats Big Jack Sprat faster, Dragon Slayer or healer. So okay, let's see. I got the time right now. So as soon as we kill Jack Sprat, I'll tell you guys my time. So to be honest, I'm trying to like save my my determination for my heal, but with Dragon Slayer, the way you gain determination makes me feel like you don't really care what your determination is. Like, yeah, you want to slide in a heal if you can, but you kind of just want to spam abilities no matter what, is what it feels like. Like, you definitely want to focus on healing, but you don't have to. Like, you can just sort of slide in a heal whenever you can. You can even get on a rotation to where you're basically always on your heal whenever fully determined, like I am right now. I'm actually on like almost a perfect rotation right now. It feels really good. Okay, I'm looking at the time. Boom. Boom, Jack Sprat's done. It took us a while, guys. I think that just took us like 3.5 minutes. I wish I had an actual timer on the screen. Okay, I'm kind of dumb for not having an actual timer. Can I just pull up a timer right here? Is that a thing? Clock? Okay, pull up a clock. This is so goofy. Clock needs an update? Well, please hurry. Why? How does my clock need an update? Dude, I'm literally just trying to pull up a thing. Strength increases damage of physical skills, and luck just increases critical chance and critical damage. Okay. Let's see. That's right. I was trying to pull up this timer thing. Here we go. Timer. Or stopwatch. Okay, here we go. Stopwatch. Going as fast as possible. No! No, X-Form! Don't help me. No! Okay, X-Form ruined it. X-Form kind of ruined it. I was trying to do a solo run. Alright, now we're going to Graveyard 3999 again. Graveyard 3999. Where'd the music go? Okay, music glitched, guys. Music glitched, and I really don't care that much. I mean, I do, but I also care about this. So let's start the stopwatch and go in. Okay. Weakening and stunning. Hitting with my abilities in order to get that determination rolling. Boom. 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 Give me my determination. That's all I care about is my determination. Boom. I do need to heal, though. I'm going to do that right now. Boom. Okay, I'm going to make sure my next fully determined skill is my heal. There we go. That's why Dragon Slayer is pretty much S tier. It's just the ability to heal yourself for that high of a percentage. Because the monsters really aren't able to retaliate. You can just kind of out-heal their damage, never even giving them a chance to defeat you. Really curious of what this time is going to be. Okay, that's time. So we're going to call it about 1 minute and 15 seconds there. a minute and 15 seconds on Dragon Slayer, and I was pretty much just spamming. And now we're going to try Healer. Okay, here comes the stopwatch, and go. So that was one of the things that made me want to put Dragon Slayer into S tier, was just the fact, basically the damage output, like how fast you're able to deal damage plus heal. Whereas the healer is obviously really good at healing, I felt the Dragon Slayer was good at dealing damage and healing. So a little worse at healing, but he's a lot better at dealing damage. And he could still heal. So makes him definite S+. I would like to try Rogue a little more. Rogue might be pretty close to S+ with enhancements. Testing out some of these classes without enhancements probably is doing the class a little bit dirty. Probably makes the class like a lot, like almost completely useless without its enhancement. But like I said, at that point, it's mostly the enhancement doing the work, isn't it? It's not the class, it's just the enhancement. I don't know. It's just an opinion thing. But I think a thief enhancement on the Rogue would make Rogue a lot better, because it would probably increase the dodge chance a lot. And having a lot of dodge chance on the Rogue it's going to be really good for the Rogue. I'm not going to lie. It might actually put it into S+. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, we don't deal a lot of damage really quickly. Boom. Done. Okay. Alright, so we're at about a minute 55 with the healer. That's like 40 seconds more than Dragon Slayer. Like I said, guys, Dragon Slayer might be better. Not gonna lie. Dragon Slayer might be the best class in Adventure Quest Worlds right now. Without a doubt. Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity. Dragon Slayer might be on top. I think I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think it does the most damage in the shortest amount of time. And I think it has the most sustainability. Well, I say this. I think it has the best all around stats. You know, I think it's survivability, sustainability, damage, AoE, everything that it has all around, I think puts it into S+. I think its entire kit puts it into S+. I think it puts it above all the other classes. I think the next class right behind Dragon Slayer is going to be Healer. Healer is very good, very great class. And then right behind that is going to be either Warrior or Rogue. Warrior or Rogue. Probably Rogue if you're going for damage, and if you're going for more crowd control, more defensive, than Warrior. And sadly, I currently do not recommend Mage at all, unless you really just want to rep Mage, or maybe if you have a party. I think if you have an actual group of people that you're playing with, Mage becomes a lot better. I think if you're just playing by yourself, Mage is horrible. It's probably the worst class to use if you're playing by yourself, which is pretty sad. Um, Calling it now, we need a buff for Mage. Just going to go ahead and call it, my honest opinion. Let's go ahead and get those mage buffs going. Ask AE for the mage buffs. We love you, Artix. But anyway, don't forget to show Warlick some love. I mean, he is the mage. Who is this? Some random person just pulled up. What's up, guy? Let me see. I would like to back out and then go. Hold on a sec. I'd like to log. By the way, I've been hanging out in the Secundus server this entire time. I completely forgot to tell you guys what server I was hanging out in, but I was hanging out in Secundus. But anyway, here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my stuff back on. I'm gonna throw my equipment and all that back on. And do not forget to join the official Dage fan club, the official guild of Caleb Smith TV here on Adventure Quest Worlds and Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity. You can join the guild by joining the Discord in the link in the description below on the YouTube. Go ahead and go to the Discord invite link on my YouTube description and join the Discord. Join Caleb Smith TV official Discord, and that will make you an official member of the Dage fan club. We're going to be putting an entire portion, dedicating an entire section of the Discord server to the Dage fan club. So it'll sort of automatically make you a member, but we'll get that all figured out where, like, you know, there will be a dedicated section so that the people that want to be a part of the fan club can go be a part of the fan club and participate and all of that. And then anybody who doesn't really care about that, but still is a fan of Caleb Smith TV, they could just chill in the Discord and not really have to worry about that. It'll just be a section of the Discord. So super exciting. Make sure to do that. Make sure to join, because once the guilds are up and ready to go in Adventure Quest Worlds Infinity, we are going to be doing the guild stuff. We're going to be doing it, all the different guild stuff all the time. It's going to be awesome. Guild stuff going in the official Dage fan club. It's just called Dage fan club, sorry. But it is official, highly official. Anyways, thank you guys very much for tuning in to Caleb Smith TV. I am going to be bringing this stream to an end. We've been going for a little over 2 hours, and our goal of testing out all the classes and creating a tier list for those classes and reviewing them and analyzing those classes is complete. Goal complete. We did it. And I appreciate you guys for chilling with me as we stream today. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed your stay here on Caleb Smith TV. Until next time, guys, I will probably not be streaming again until next weekend. So keep an eye out. Keep an eye out next weekend. You never know. I could just randomly decide to do a stream. I might even stream tomorrow. No promises, but, like, you know, if I want. I'm not planning to, though. So I'm planning to definitely stream to you guys again next weekend. Just keep your eye out next weekend, guys. And until then, I appreciate you for tuning in to Caleb Smith TV, and I hope that you enjoyed your stay and stay vigilant. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Until then, this is your friend Caleb Smith, signing out.